Thank you for joining today's CATIA Talk. I'm David Gadarian, a Program Marketing Director with the Dassault Systemes North America team. I will be presenting along with two of my colleagues.
Tanya Cole from the Lightweight Engineering team in the CATIA brand in North America.
And my name is Swearingen. I am also part of the CATIA Lightweight Engineering team in North America.
We'd also like to take a quick moment to acknowledge our co-author, Rainey Richardson, who is unable to join us today. In today's CATIA Talk, we are announcing the release of a new white paper that is now available from Dassault Systems called Additive Manufacturing, Where to Start. The white paper is designed to help large OEMs and tier suppliers adopt additive manufacturing as a business strategy across their enterprise. That said, we are also confident that smaller organizations can also benefit. The aim of the white paper is to share some of our industry knowledge, including our work with customers in aerospace and defense, transportation and mobility, life sciences, industrial equipment, and energy and materials, ultimately to help you on your additive manufacturing journey. We're excited to help you adopt a strategy that moves beyond the traditional manufacturing processes, ultimately moving additive manufacturing efforts from a project approach into a program mindset. There's a lot of talk and excitement around additive manufacturing and the potential. However, few companies have moved additive manufacturing into their mainstream due to, among other things, costs, multiple technologies, and speed limitations. Because of this, additive manufacturing has remained largely in R&D labs or used by engineers for prototypes. And when we see additive manufacturing in production, it is mostly in small runs. New materials have come onto the market, faster printers are available, and fully integrated software that covers the end-to-end process all have made the viability and possibility of commercial scale additive manufacturing a reality. To answer the final question on the slide, the key factor allowing you and your organization to move past the pilot phase and into full production will revolve around your ability to deliver value across the entire organization. To move away from projects to production, it is essential to get collaboration and buy-in from the groups we've outlined here on this slide: R&D, engineering, manufacturing, and IT. Without cross-collaboration, it will be very difficult to have a successful program. Assuming an enterprise-wide posture will also allow your organization to pursue digital continuity in a unified environment where there is a single source of truth. Regardless of discipline, design, simulation, or manufacturing, embracing digital continuity allows all users to share and maintain information seamlessly without importing or exporting files. Model-based digital continuity becomes a more powerful tool when linked with other functional areas. Now, I'd like to turn the presentation over to my colleague, Tanya Cole. Tanya?
Thank you, David. So now that you have an idea of what your strategy is going to be, it's a good time to start engaging your internal stakeholders and asking for their input, especially when it comes to fully capturing the scope of your business potential and understanding what it takes to drive a successful adoption. So this is going to require a significant shift in how your organization thinks about your processes and product design and production. And it's also going to require people to leave behind their narrow assumptions about additive manufacturing. But involving the internal stakeholders early on is going to give them a sense of ownership, which means that they'll be more likely to support innovative visions in the future that others may not realize. So once you have the input needed, you can then start to anticipate opportunities by looking for areas where additive manufacturing has the potential to reduce the complexity of your existing value chain, and by determining if additive manufacturing is going to create any new market prospects for your organization. So your findings throughout the value chain assessment are also going to guide you in developing your additive manufacturing implementation roadmap, as well as help you better be prepared to answer to questions or concerns from your internal stakeholders. Now, when it comes to building your additive manufacturing program, it's important to understand that you must start with projects that are going to give you a good starting place and will lay a solid foundation for your future program. Next, you need to consider how you're going to implement additive manufacturing into your current processes. Direct substitution is the easiest way to go, and it will, of course, be less disruptive in the short term, but scope is going to be limited in terms of the potential added value. So make sure you consider long-term implementation options as well. So when it comes to selecting your parts, the ideal way to go about this is starting with an assessment of your existing parts and identifying the parts with high manufacturability costs, identify parts with the appropriate material composition, and also look for geometry that's appropriate for additive manufacturing. Now, a couple other great identifiers to consider when selecting your parts are looking at parts that are not produced in a high volume, but are in high demand for replacement parts. And last, you could also look at designs that are under revision or coming up on modifications where you have an opportunity to reduce the material waste, lightweight the part, or even use a stronger material. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Colin Swearingen.
Thank you, Tanya. So really, whenever we're looking at digital continuity, the journey is really going to start with the IT department. This is going to play a critical role in identifying the right software solutions that's going to allow you to meet your program objectives. So there's several key aspects of the additive software evaluation that we need to look at here. And the first one really starts with defining the solution functionalities that are required for each program area. We need to have stuff that's going to make sense. The next step is to identify software options that are going to cover my entire additive manufacturing workflow. I don't want to just look at one segmented aspect of this. I want to be able to address the entire end-to-end process. And then last but not least, being able to prioritize additive manufacturing solutions that can integrate with systems that are managing my other business process. So it needs to still be able to interface with the existing processes I have without working as its own entity. But really beyond the specific functionality of the solution, one thing that we really need to worry about here is creating and maintaining digital continuity across data types, devices, and applications. So it is possible to take a lot of existing tools and softwares and trying to patch them together and connect the dots as best as possible. But really, at the end of the day, these data silos are going to increase the cost and are really going to limit the speed of my innovation, which I would ideally like to try to avoid. Really, if I'm just putting it simply, a broken digital thread is truly a barrier to your long-term success. So really, whenever it's coming down to this, it's about the IT unifying all these aspects to maintain this digital continuity so I don't have to deal with all the pain points that are associated with this process. So if I'm kind of looking at going from a project approach to moving on to a program, this slide is really illustrating kind of the differences between, what is just a project versus how does a program implementation look. So product design is traditionally relying on designer proficiency and creativity. You're kind of having to balance functional requirements with manufacturability. And, sometimes you're gaining one in one area, but you're sacrificing some of the other. So it's really about trying to find that balance. But what we're seeing on the slide here is this project approach creates a lot of problems for the same reasons I discussed in the last slide with digital continuity. I have a lot of different players that are using a lot of different software tools with different areas of expertise in order to accomplish one task. And that's maybe designing parts for additive manufacturing or still implementing this on a program level. So whenever I'm having to throw the files over the wall, designers and analysts having to collaborate together, for instance, there's a lot of file exchange that's being done. It's really cutting down on my ability to innovate and streamline this process at a larger level. So if I'm looking at trying to scale a process like this, what we're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen takes a lot of time and it's cost prohibitive as well. If I'm actually looking at implementing this on a program level, it's about tying all the aspects of additive manufacturing together into one environment where all my tools are speaking one language and we're able to interface and streamline this process really from concept to creation. So if I'm looking at leveraging additive manufacturing for lean operations, this can mean a number of things. A lot of the times, possible benefits of wider additive manufacturing adoption typically align with existing operation initiatives that I may have within my organization. So these could be things like increasing efficiency, reducing waste, or minimizing rework. But when we're looking at this, one of the first steps is evaluating my processes and identifying areas where additive can actually offer lean openings. So this could be things like not just looking at simple parts by themselves, but looking at things like part consolidation. Can I take an assembly that's maybe 10 parts and with use of additive manufacturing, somehow consolidate these and turn it into an assembly of 5 parts instead? That's reducing costs on a large scale for my organization. Making parts to demand, whether it's replacement parts or things that just need, there's not many of these manufactured. I don't have a high volume of them, but maybe it requires some customization. That's one of the ways that I can look to, find lean openings in these particular processes, and then minimizing material usage and process waste. So it's about more efficient manufacturing. But beyond efficiency and cost savings, additive is actually going to create a lot of opportunities to reduce my carbon footprint. What I mean by that is I can actually have these printers closer to the designers, for instance, and I'm cutting down on, the additional manufacturing costs and shipping costs that are associated with moving these models around and getting them to customers. I'm actually able to have these done in-house right next to the user so that I can then take the parts and analyze them and begin to get them into production. But really more and more organizations are stating that sustainability and consideration of natural environment are core elements of their company's principles, and additive, once again, is allowing us to reduce this carbon footprint. So ultimately, you should use your organization's KPIs and really their mission to dictate the strategic operational areas to focus on during your additive implementation.
Thank you, Colin. As you continue to explore where to start your additive manufacturing program, we encourage you to maintain focus both on the details and the wider picture. Technical challenges will be there, and the right partners are crucial. There are also many factors that fall outside of the purely technical. And as you look to move from pilot to program, both the technical and emotional elements need to be addressed across all 4 departments we've outlined today. We encourage you to leverage the 3D Experience platform to address these issues. The 3D Experience platform is an innovation platform supporting collaboration across the value chain, as well as a business platform that is both a system of operations to run your business and a business model to transform your business. As my colleagues have already shared, we are confident that the 3D Experience platform will position you and your organization to truly realize the potential associated with additive manufacturing. A few final thoughts to close us out. Start small, experiment and build, but underneath, position for scalability. And finally, be sure to share your wins within your organization. So thank you again for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we certainly hope we shared enough today to encourage you to read Additive Manufacturing: Where to Start. At Dassault Systemes, we've had the honor of spending many decades working with customers during both good times as well as through very disruptive periods. Throughout, we've always focused on working with our customers to meet the moment, whatever that moment may be, while also maintaining an eye towards the future to ensure that our customers are well positioned and prepared to prepare for the next moments. If you need help solving around some of the additive manufacturing challenges we've presented today, please reach out to your Dassault Systemes representative. In addition, if you are looking to learn more, contact us online or directly through the CATIA community. And with that, we thank you.